Okay, let's get this started. Some milestones as usual to announce. We do have a field umpire doing their first Division 1 game. He's a young fella that started with us 4 or 5 years ago. Really impressed us right from the start. Ended up winning our best first year umpire at the time. Decided to go give a crack to Sample. Decided he didn't really want to commit the time that is required at sample level and just enjoy his footy and put his mind to other things away from footy, which is fair enough. And he's come back this year and hasn't put a foot wrong. So Nathan May doing his first Division 1 game this week. So well done to Nathan. And we've got a 100-game milestone to Brian Curtis, also field umpire. So Brian, really enjoy your work. You've been tremendous down in those lower grades. So well done to those two guys. All right, some notes before we get to our special guest. Boundary umpires. We do obviously provide some games with league appointed boundary umpires, specifically Div 1, Div 2, A grade and B grade, and all the women's games. We leave it to the clubs to provide umpires for the rest of the games. There's no requirement for them to provide a boundary umpire for C grade men's games. But for all the rest of the A grade, Div 3 down, and all the B grade games, there's an expectation that the clubs do provide boundary umpires. And then there are going to be some times where we hope to provide boundary umpires and we don't have the umpires available, or there are late pullouts, etc. The reason I went through all that is if there is a club boundary umpire required, we do not start the game until there's one in place. So again, C grade men games, it's fine, just do without. But you need to tell the clubs before a game, if a boundary umpire is required, that you won't start the game until they find one. And when you say that, one normally pops up. So just make sure that you're looking for the boundary umpires in place and the match day official from each side before you get a game started. Okay, I had a question about can a player who's been given a yellow card or a red card be allowed on the ground during a quarter time break? The answer to that is for a yellow card, say it's given just before the quarter time break and they've still got to serve some of their time off in the next quarter, they are allowed on the ground. You don't need to insist that they stay off. They're allowed to hear the coach. There's nothing in the rules that says they need to be off. However, someone with a red card off for the rest of the game or is serving a suspension from a previous week, they are not allowed on the field at any time during a game. So just make sure you're aware of that. But yeah, one of the clubs was getting up in arms about one of the players yellow carded on the weekend, saying they couldn't come on to hear the coach. That's not the case. A reminder about after a match administration, we need both umpires to enter the details together into Officials HQ. Especially important for the best players, the votes. So that's where one puts the votes into the Officials HQ, the other one gets the team sheets, and you compare the notes and put it in together. Just because you have back-to-back games doesn't give you an excuse to get out of it. We had a muck-up on the weekend because there was only one umpire doing it because the other umpire was back-to-back games. It's not an excuse. I'd rather you miss the start of the next game, get the votes done together. There should be enough time anyway. But yeah, just make sure you get in the habit of doing it together and don't give the other umpire the out if they're trying to get out. Just insist that you do it together. All right, social media. God, it's a pain in the neck sometimes. We find some just can't help themselves. I know that, we all get worked up over umpiring at AFL level. I had another umpire last night, wanted to mouth off about the Crows umpires. I've got no idea why. I'm a Crow supporter. I thought the umpiring was just fine. Even if you find a game where you aren't happy, stay away from social media. Tell your friends, ring up, mouth off to the TV. I don't care. Just don't put it on social media. That goes for umpires of any league. I certainly wouldn't want to see you bagging umpires from Adelaide Footy League, but even other leagues as well. It's like we're all one, we're all umpires, so we need to realise we all make mistakes, and we shouldn't be taking pot shots at other umpires. Similarly, just be aware you're an official of the league, you're an umpire of the league, and things that you do on social media, especially when they're football related, can cause issues. So I had to deal with an umpire today that used the laughing emoji on some football related post, and an upset club. Got back to league headquarters and they weren't happy. And I wasn't happy. So yeah, again, just if you're using social media, use it wisely. Realise, you are appointed as a representative of the league umpire, and you have certain responsibilities with that. I think I've said enough. And the last point I wanted to make, many of you will be aware that the SANFL are wanting to develop a facility for their state underage teams back at West Lakes. The city of Charles Sturt is making life a bit difficult. They have agreed to go to community consultation, and I'm encouraging all of you guys to fill in the online form and support the development. Not only is it a good thing for the SANFL, it's a good thing for the Crows because it means they can get into 30. But really importantly, from our perspective, it is hugely beneficial for the Adelaide Footy League. There has been a really good financial deal done. If the SANFL move out of 30 Oval and the Crows move in, Adelaide Footy League, because there was a lease arrangement, do win out particularly well. And so this hold up of the development city, Charles Sturt, is going to cause issues if it can't get through. So the more from the community that support the development, the more likely it will get supported by the councillors down there. So yeah, we're looking for as much support as possible. So I will send the link. It takes 5 minutes. If you've got any questions about it, let me know. But I'm especially appealing to anyone that lives in the city of Charles Sturt. Your vote, your say is super important. But for anyone else, it's good too. If we can get a lot of surveys filled in saying that they're supporting of the development, then that will be a good thing. All right. Now, Barry, you wanted to fire a question. You want to unmute yourself and fire away. If you can work it out, unmute. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Colin, is there a protected zone right across the ground, 25 metres out from the kick-in when a player's kicking in from a point?
So, as you know, the player on the mark is 15 metres back from the top of the kickoff line. There is a semicircle that works its way around from that point, where players, it is a protected area. Now, you do your best to clear that area, but it's not always possible because they play on. The moment the fullback crosses the line, that protected area disappears. But before they do that, you need to work hard to encourage players to move out of that area, both sides. Make sense? So it's a semicircle that works its way around from that top of from where the man on the mark is, or the person on the mark. Yeah. I think I'm pretty sure there's a diagram in the laws of Australian football, so you can look that one up if you want to get your head totally around it. And actually, I've seen some grounds that actually put the markings out. They get the paint out and do that. All right.
Yep.
Anyone else got any questions, comments, anything that happened on the weekend? All right. Now, I wanted to invite Anthony Wesley onto one of these Zoom meetings because many of you have been around a while will know Wes, as he's affectionately known. Others that are fairly new. Satellite Footy League may not know who he is, but we're going to find out a bit about him. And I'm going to dive into something he did fairly recently, which intrigued me and quite inspiring. So Wes, are you on the line?
I am. Can you hear me, everyone?
Beautiful. Yeah, looking
Yep.
good. Looking good. All right, Wes. Before we dive into what I really wanted to speak about, maybe just get a little bit of background on yourself, your footy journey, both as a player and umpire. I actually looked at your date of birth before coming on here. You're born a month after me. So
Yeah, we're 71 babies.
that's right, exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So we're still young.
Yep.
We'll try and convince ourselves of that. So tell us about where you've gone on your football journey.
Okay, so footy was my life since I was born. I used to go watch West Torrens with my old man for all those young years in the 70s and 80s before I could start playing football on Saturday afternoons. So basically played school footy, then went to Goody Saints straight from, because I went to Goody Tech High School. So Goody Saints was or Goodwood Tigers when I first started back in '85. I played for them and then did a couple of years at West Torrens under 19s. A little bit too short to play league and reserves footy, so that was my career in league football, done pretty quickly. So basically played 300 games for Goodwood Saints. So yeah, life member, everything there. Gave it up basically because 2 children came along, so couldn't really afford to get injured anymore. So football gave it up, and then yeah, I can't remember who it was at the Adelaide Footy League or to say come out and do some umpiring, but I think when they first said, I said there's no way I'd umpire. But then yeah, I gave it a try. Really enjoyed it, and I think nearly 350 games later, still plodding along. So that's my footy career, really.
Yeah, nice. Actually,
Yeah.
The other thing I did to Google you just to see if I could find anything. There wasn't much online, but I did see that you're part of the Goodwood Foundation Club. What does that mean?
So basically, back in, I think it was around 89, 90, Goodwood Saints were just about to collapse. So I think the club was completely broke. And there was going to be a rumour that we're going to merge with Edwardstown Footy Club. So most of the members weren't happy with that. So basically, we all chipped in as what we could with money to keep the club alive for that next 12 months. And basically, I think the club really exploded from there. And you can see what Goodwood's done since we got into Division 1. So I think that was around Division 2 when we were going to merge with Edwardstown. And then, yeah, so we were classed as foundation members, and yeah.
So you helped out financially, is that it? Or
yeah. So yeah, the club was just financially broken. Yeah, they didn't know what I think the board at that time, the committee wanted to merge with Edwardstown, because I think Edwardstown wanted to go further. You know, I think they were in the lower grade, although it was SAFA back then. I'm not really quite sure. But yeah, most of the members just disagreed with it and did what we can to keep the club going.
Nice. And during your playing years, any grand finals, anything of note to mention?
Yeah, so I won 6 grand finals with Goody Saints. None in the A grade, unfortunately. But they were all in the Division 1 reserves that we won all those premierships. So won 6, a couple in the juniors as well. Lost 5 in the Division 1 reserves as well. So we're pretty strong in the resis from the late 80s until I retired in 2002, I think it was. So played a lot of grand finals. So yeah, lost my first 5 and then won my last 5.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So you mainly played in the Bs, is that right?
No, I played nearly 100 A grade games as well in Div 1. But yeah, we had too many good players. They came from league clubs, or they recruited some really good players. And that was my position. So being 5'4", there wasn't many positions I could play. So yeah, unfortunately, but it was a good club. I went to Kenilworth for 1 year just to try out something different in Division 2 when they were in there. I think we made the prelim that year, so we just missed out on Div 1. But yeah, Good was always my club, so I went back to them.
Yeah, and moving on to umpiring, you had a very successful career, and still successful umpiring. When I came along and watched you umpire, I've often said you're one of my favourites. You just something about the way you umpired. You reminded me of watching Brian Sheen umpire, the way he moved around.
Is that slow?
Sorry, say that again.
Is that being slow?
No, not at all. Not at all. He was silky smooth the way he ran around, and obviously a very successful umpire at AFL level. You umpired how many Division 1 grand finals?
Yeah, so I started in 2006. I think that first year, I think I did the Div 1 Resis as my grand final for the first year. And then basically Div 1 the year after, in 2008, I did my first Div 1 Granny. And then, yeah, I missed out. I think I did about 5 Div 1 Resi grand finals in a row. So I just couldn't make that last step into the grand final. And then 2020, yeah, I got the other opportunity, or 21.
It was 2020. Yeah.
2020, yeah. So to another Division 1 grand final. So yeah.
So only 2. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so only the 2, but yeah, done heaps of Div 1 grand games, and yeah, really enjoyed the footies. Have been great.
And obviously 2020, when you did that last grand final, also Casey Cooper medal for best umpire.
Yep.
You had a great year, and I guess giving you the appointments and working out where you're going to umpire each week and knowing which teams are playing, it never crossed my mind once that you were closely associated with Goodwood, so I had to avoid Goodwood games. And so you end up umpiring Goodwood in that grand final and did a tremendous job, and as I knew you would. How did it feel actually umpiring Goodwood in a grand final?
Well, actually, 2008 was great. It was goodies as well.
Right.
So 2008 was Goodwood and Salisbury North. So and because I was only a few years out of the club, so I knew a lot of people still around the club and a lot of the players as well. They I just treated Goodwood like any other club. I didn't bother me one little bit. Don't worry, I sent off a few players from Goodies and red card as well. So I just took it as just another game of footy. Yeah, basically when I stopped playing, I basically said Goodwood was always going to be a club that I've grown up sort of thing, but it's just another club with the other 70 odd that's in the LA Footy League, really.
Yeah, nice. And you got used to premierships also following Hawthorn too. So
yeah, they do, but could be a few more years before I see one of them again anyway.
No, very good. So let's get on to why I got you on today. So you took a step back from umpiring Div 1 men's footy in the last 3 or so years. Tell us why.
So it's a bit of a quick story. So I think after the grand final, I think I went watched some Test cricket during the summer, and it was a real boring day. And I thought to myself, geez, I've got to do something different. I was getting a little bit bored of umpiring week in, week out. So I decided to get into triathlons. So I didn't know how to swim very well. I didn't own a bike. I knew I could run though, so I thought, 1 out of 3, I should be all right. So I decided to go on to the triathlon scene and see how I go with that.
And so umpiring certainly took a back seat, but you kept umpiring. You've been mainly women's footy, one game each week. So how have you found that, just umpiring the one women's game?
I don't actually. You know what, the women's is really good. They you don't get all the back chat like you do with men's footy. They just get on and play football, and I still enjoy running around, blowing the whistle. So it's just something to do. You're not running as much as what you do in men's footy, of course. You're only doing probably 4 or 5 kilometres of not hard running. So at least my body, after doing some training in the morning with triathlons, I could still do some umpiring in the afternoon anyway.
Yeah. So you've taken the triathlons pretty seriously. You got yourself a coach. Just tell us about the coach. Who is it and what they do for you?
So basically, I joined a triathlon club. A coach who represented Australia when in his junior days as a triathlete. Good chance he was going to make the Olympics. Unfortunately, he got hit by a car on his bike and broke his back. So his career was over pretty quickly, which unfortunately happens a lot when you're on a bike out in the open roads a lot of the time. Unfortunately, that was during a race when a car just came out of the blue. So yeah, he took me on board. Thought there was a little bit of hope. There's just that I could do something. And yeah, I think with triathlons, it's you go in all in or you don't do it at all. So I thought I'll just have a real good crack at it and see how far I can go with it. And yeah, I think I've gone as far as I can with doing the Ironman in December. But I'll step back and do some shorter races this summer, and then maybe head some more longer races after that. So
what would a typical week for you be? Getting ready for a triathlon, and we'll get onto the Ironman
Yep.
as we go along. But yeah, how does your training week look?
So basically, even just for our summer series we have here in South Australia, which is normally a sprint or an Olympic distance. So I'll probably do around 4 or 5 Ks of swimming per week. So that's two sessions of around 2.5, 3 Ks of swimming per week. I'll probably run 3 times a week, up to about 30, 40 kilometers. And I'll probably ride around 100 Ks for the week as well. So I basically train 6 out of 7 days.
Yeah.
And it's always morning. So I'm always training by about 5 o'clock every morning.
Right. What
Yeah.
motivates you to get up? That's
yeah, I think it's just a habit now. I just get up at 4:30 without the alarm now. So yeah, they say triathletes are crazy, and we definitely are.
Yeah. Now your partner, she does it as well?
Yeah, my wife Anne-Marie, she does it as well. She carries a lot of injuries, but she gets through it as well. So she does a lot of the shorter events. But because she can't do much of the triathlons, she's gone into the officiating like I did with umpiring. So she's now a fully qualified technical officer. And she's gunning to eventually go to Commonwealth Games, Olympic Games.
Yeah,
so
nice.
that's her aim. So yeah, she did a couple of world tours over the summer break. All the best in the world came over to Tasmania once to try and get their ticket for the Olympics for this year. So she officiated in that as well. So yeah, so she's taken a different step in the triathlon world.
So how often would you compete with a triathlon? What's a typical triathlon look like, and like how often would you do one?
Yeah, so for our summer series, we have about 10 races over October to March. So they're basically maybe every 3 weeks we'll have one. And then during the winter series, there is an event called the duathlons, which is bike run, and they're between August and September, so for about 3 or 4 races as well. So it's racing basically 7 months, 8 months of the year in the state. So
yeah. So what sort of distances are you doing for each discipline for those races?
So with triathlons, there's basically an enticer, which is 300-meter swim, 20K ride, and a 5K run. You go to a sprint, which you basically double, and then you go to an Olympic distance, which is a 1.5K swim, 40K ride, and a 10K run. And then you go to a half Ironman, which is 1.9K swim, 90K ride, and a half mara. And then an Ironman is double the half Ironman, so which is 3.9K swim, 180K ride, and a full mara run.
They're
the disciplines. 42, yeah.
Wow. All right. So let's get on to it. What made you want to do an Ironman? It sounds crazy.
I had to convince my wife a fair bit so I can do an Ironman. I thought I did a few half Ironman, which I did one in Cairns, one in Port Macquarie, one in Melbourne as well. And to watch in Port Macquarie and Cairns and Busselton, they're the only 3 that will host a full Ironman event. So there's only 3 per year in Australia. To watch people coming in after doing an Ironman was pretty inspirational. I thought, man, I've got to give this a go. This looks pretty good. I know it's going to be pretty hard and long, but I think the one in Port Macquarie, I watched people coming in. The deadline is 17 hours to complete it, and to watch people come in with about 5-10 minutes to go, it's pretty amazing. It's hard to explain unless you're there. The excitement and the crowd that gets involved. So I thought I've got to give this a go. So I've done 5 half Ironman. So I thought, well, I might as well do one in my life before I get too old. So I better get it done.
So what did it mean for your training? What did your coach say you had to do to get
So
ready?
basically, it was a 20-week program, and that was basically 7 days a week. That includes going to the gym for weights and all that sort of thing as well. Started off with around 10 to 12 hours per week, and then I led up to about 20 to 25 hours per week of training to get ready. So with that month, 6 weeks before Bustleton or the Ironman, I was doing 8-hour rides on Saturday. So basically starting at 5, finishing around 2 o'clock with the rides, and then go for a 10, 20K run straight after that. So yeah, it was about 25 hours per week of just grinding it out. So yeah, that's the hardest bit of the race. The race was easier than training, if that makes sense.
And finding time to do it, you know.
That's exactly right. Yeah, there were days I was riding the bike at 4 in the morning, and heading out to McLaren Vale, Wollonga, out to Somerton, out in the Adelaide Hills somewhere. So yeah, it was just you just ride for 7-8 hours and make sure you get the time in on the saddle. Basically, try and get your 180, 200 Ks in per Saturday.
So let's get on to the actual race itself. So Bustleton's in WA.
WA, yeah. So down near Bunbury, if people know that area down there, great part of the world.
What was the weather like on that day?
It was about 30 degrees, 28, 30 degrees, which is normal for Bustleton. So the thing with Bustleton, it can be hot, it can be cold, but it's always windy because it's right on the coast there. So we had warm weather, but it was overcast, which was good. But it was probably 40, 50K winds on the bike, so made it interesting anyway. Yeah. So,
hell on earth is what I'd call it.
yeah.
So and for those that are Facebook friends with Wes, you've got an idea of what's about to happen in what he describes. But for those that haven't read the post, tell us how the race unfolded.
Yeah, so basically for an event, you're up at 3 in the morning to get ready. So yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning, we go down, you get all your stuff ready for transition, put all your run gear out. So with Ironman, so you don't get changed near your bike, you go into a tent so you can basically get changed and put all new clothing on after each leg. So basically get yourself ready. I got there about 20 past 3, 3:30 in the morning, and then I kicked off, started going swimming around 7:30. So the half Ironman go first. So that there's about 2,000 people went first for the half Iron, and then the Ironman go later, and then they to make sure the half Ironman people they're off the course before the Ironman really get into the run. So around 7 o'clock, 7:30, I just about to hit the water, and I said to myself, well, here we go. I was hoping to do 13 hours. So yeah, you just put in your mind saying, oh, here's a long 13-hour day, and off you go. So yeah, it all started with a swim. So the swim's like you're in a bathtub. That's the kids are jumping up and around. So there's thousands of arms and legs going everywhere. You're swimming, you'll hit people. They're doing backstroke, they're doing breaststroke, they're doing whatever they can to get through the event. So it is pretty chaos in the water. The water was a bit choppy. It was a bit breezy, so it was a bit of a harder swim than normally for Bustleton. So, yeah, so 3.8K swim. Finally got that done. It just took me just under an hour and 20 minutes to get that finished. And then you run into transition, get yourself changed, get your wetsuit off, get your I just wear a tri suit. I don't wear a cycling gear at all. Put all your lotion on, make sure you got all your nutrition ready, all your fluids ready, because like anything with endurance race, you miss out on one drink or one gel or a bar or something, and that could ruin your race. That's how much you've got to train and get ready for Ironman. So headed out, 180K ride. I knew it was going to take me about 6 hours. So yeah, you just get out there and you just ride with everyone else. Sounds weird, but I really enjoyed it. The ride took me about just under 6 hours, 5 hours 50, which was about just under 30K an hour for 180Ks. Yeah, you just see a lot of people, a lot of characters out there. People falling off their bike because they've just lost no nutrition and they've just fainted on bikes, or there's always mechanical problems. It can be carnage out there. There was one big accident out in Busselton. I think a rabbit went over the road. I think there was a group of about 20 together. One hit the rabbit, they all went over. So it can get a bit nasty out there. So, but got that done. Came into transition knowing ready to go, and I felt really good. Best I've ever felt after a 180k ride. And I thought, oh, here we go. It might be all right for a marathon run. Yeah, I drank about 7 liters of water and Gatorade on the bike for the ride, and had about 10 gels. So if everyone's had gels before, they're like high carbohydrate nutrition. So I felt really good, ready to go, and then off I ran. Saw my wife there. She gave me a high five, and off I went. 15 k's in, running really well. Probably running around a 540 per k pace, that was my aim. 540, 550. And like with anything with endurance, things can go wrong. And unfortunately, my stomach seized up and my throat seized up, and I couldn't swallow. I couldn't take any nutrition or fluid in. And yeah, my body just went to shit for a few minutes, or even about a half hour basically. So I couldn't run. I had to walk for a while and had to try and work out what can I do to get me back going again, because I still had 27 k's to run to finish the event. And because I spoke to my coach, we talked about what could happen, and one was what would happen if you can't take any fluid in. And what it was I started drinking flat Coke to get me through 27 kilometers. So it was flat Coke and water, and then just sucking on ice cubes each aid station, which is about 3 k's before you get to another aid station. So that's what I had to do for 27 k's. It got me going again. I had to walk for about 4 after when I stopped. And then by the time I got some little bit of sugar back into me, I could start running again and run to every aid station, get 2 cups of Coke in, and then go to the next one. So it was a bit ugly, because what happened was I came down with influenza A the day before, which I didn't know I had in me, but it was in my system, which hence my body shut down, my stomach and my throat and all that shut down was from the influenza A. So basically for 27 k's, all I wanted to do was I just wanted to throw up. I think if everyone's had that situation before where you just want to be sick but you can't, that's how I felt. It was all stuck in my top of my throat here, but I couldn't get it out, so I had to endure that for 27 k's. But got it done. I kept telling myself I've done too much work not to stop. And the best thing with Busselton, it's a 4-lap, 10k lap, so at least you can come in and see. I saw my wife 8 times, because you go past a few times. So I just kept telling her I'll just have to keep plodding along. But yeah. So that last 1 kilometer was just that was just hell. I've never been in so much pain in my life. But I knew, because it was getting dark, because I didn't finish till about 7:30 at night. All the lights are going, the music's blaring, all the supporters are half pissed as well with all the alcohol they're drinking. So they spur you on, and yeah, to run down the red carpet to the finish line is something I'll never forget.
So what did you get it done in? What was the time?
12 hours 23.
Yeah, brilliant.
So yeah, so I ran them with the walk and all that. So I did my mara in 4 hours 35. So yeah. If it wasn't for the virus that I picked up I probably got that with the plane trip over to Busselton. Yeah, it could have been better, but I was wrapped with 12 hours 23.
Yeah, these Zooms are restricted to 40 minutes. I'm spewing because we could talk for ages. I reckon in about 3 minutes left. Now, tell us what happened in the preceding days and weeks after.
Yeah, so basically straight after the race, you go into recovery. So there's just a big smorgasbord of food that you can eat. Unfortunately, I couldn't eat a thing. The smell was because I still wanted to be sick. So I just got my gear. I cramped up about 3 times trying to get my bag and my gear to get to walk out. And when you walk out, they weigh you to see how much weight you've lost, to see if you're all good. And once they weighed me, my body completely shut down. I just went into a massive spasm. So they had to take me to medical tent. And that's just like an army tent. There's just beds with drips everywhere. I was in there for about an hour, and finally the stuff came out of me, and I think I threw up for about 5 minutes. So yeah, and then yeah, so I came home the next day because my wife had to get back to work, so the plane trip was ugly. And then unfortunately, yeah, on Tuesday I came down with pneumonia as well. So influenza A and pneumonia. So that was 2 weeks in bedridden, and with the race and the influenza A, I had issues with my liver as well. I stuffed up my liver a little bit as well. So yeah, that took about 8 weeks to recover.
Yeah, amazing story. So inspiring. I can't believe you're still training and actually putting your mind doing more of them. But would you ever do another Ironman, or is that it?
Oh, someone would have to really twist my arm, like really twist it. So never say never, but yeah, someone will really have to talk me into doing another one.
Yeah. Now, I normally open up for questions, and we're going to run out of time. If anyone is actually interested in finding out more about triathlons, Ironmans, and they want to speak to Wes, if you haven't got his number, I'm sure Wes is happy for me to pass it on. Barry, you just unmuted yourself. You wanted to say something? Is that right?
Yep.
Far away.
Wes?
Yep.
How many?
Oh, you're cutting out there, Barry. You just cut out. Yeah, never mind. You'll have to call you later. So, Wes, well done.
Thank you.
It's inspiring that someone puts their effort in and achieves something like that. Absolutely incredible. As I said, I'm sure there's others in the group that might be interested in learning more about it. And if they are, I'm sure they'll reach out and want to have a chat.
Yep. Perfect. Thanks for having me on, Colin.
Yeah, no worries. And yeah, look forward to your umpiring career continuing while you're off doing all these crazy things.
Yeah. So Brossamara in 2 weeks. So if you want to come down and do a run, so I'm going to do the Brossa Marathon in 2 weeks. So that's
what are you aiming for time-wise?
Aiming to try and break 350.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Oh, good luck for that. We'll stay tuned.
Thanks very much.
And yeah, a story worth sharing. So well done. And yeah, we'll look forward to seeing you around the place, and keep doing what you're doing best.
Thanks for that.
All right. Got it, guys. We'll get back into the normal swing of things next week with a coaching video, and look forward to seeing you at training this week.